So somebody asks, are Nundro practices done in all Buddhist traditions or only Tibetan? Just the Tibetan, yeah. All traditions do bowing, all traditions make offerings, all traditions take refuge, but not all of the traditions do these practices formally, with a certain count. And then also practices such as Vajrasattva, Samaya Vajra, and so on. Those are more related to Tantra, so they're not done so much in the other Buddhist traditions. Okay, but they all have their own purification practices. Okay, we're moving along. Yes. Yeah, all four Tibetan schools do these practices. They do them in different ways. Some of the Tibetan traditions have you do a 3-year retreat, and during the 3-year retreat, you do all your nundro. Other traditions have you do a little bit of all the nundros each day, so that it spans over quite a long period of time. The way we tend to do it is you focus on one particular Nundro practice, complete that, and then go on to another one. Yeah, which you may do in a retreat setting, like we're doing Vajrasattva, or you may do them in your daily life, in which case you do a little bit of each day, but you really stick with just one practice when you're doing it. Okay. Okay, so 2 questions about the sadhana. Why are there no offerings to Vajrasattva except for the Mandala offering? I guess we must be stingy. Yeah, I mean, well, he got a cup of hot water and an orange, an apple, and a pear today. Um, the reason why is there's various ways to do the Vajrasattva sadhana. And the one we have, I took out of a standardized text where the Vajrasattva practice is like a sub-practice within the longer sadhana. And so that one didn't have offerings or the 7-limb prayer or the 4 immeasurables or any of that stuff. So we already added a lot to that one. But some people like very short, terse sadhanas. Other people like very long ones. So try to do something in the middle. If you want to, add the 8 offerings, you're very welcome to add those. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. But I didn't want to make the sadhana too long because I know how uptight everybody gets about chanting mantra. And I wanted you to be able to relax a little bit. But of course, if you want to add that, if you want to, add the 8 offerings, if you want to add, if you want to do the 7-limb prayer the long way, as in the beginning part of the prayer to Samantabhadra, you can do that. If you want to add the 8 verses of thought training, add that. If you want to add the 37 practices of bodhisattvas, add that. If you want to, do the long version of the 4 immeasurables, add that. You can add all these kinds of things, okay? Yeah, just don't do another deity practice in the middle of Vajrasattva, okay? If you want to make long dedication prayers, that's great. So all these things, it's no problem to add them. It's just we didn't want to make everything too long. Okay, in the refuge section, who are the goddesses? Okay, the goddesses there, we're talking about dakinis. Okay, so dakas, there's different kinds of dakas and dakinis. Some are worldly beings. In the refuge prayer, we're not talking about the worldly dakas and dakinis. We're talking about ones that have, realizations that are helpers on the path. Okay. What are the various possible causes for a not good enough mind that's so prevalent in our society? Judgmental mind towards others, harsh speech, malice. Any thoughts on why, from a karmic point of view, this is so prevalent? Okay. We can't put everything on karma. Okay. There may be some habitual tendencies from, let's say, they say that one of the karmic results of malice is that you feel suspicious of other people. Okay, one of the results of harsh words is the tendency to say harsh words repeatedly. Okay, but in terms of our own emotional habits, I wouldn't say that everything there is due to karma. It's more due to what's going on in our mind right now. Okay? And so if we habitually tell ourselves, oh, I'm poor, I'm a victim, I'm this and this and this, those are thoughts that our mind is creating right now. Yeah. Perhaps there was some habit doing this in a previous life, and that habit carried on, to this life, to think of oneself in a harsh way. Perhaps there were certain mental attitudes we had towards others, spiteful or hateful mental attitudes towards others we had in past lives, and that plays out this life by having spiteful, hateful attitudes towards ourselves. But I think the main thing is how we are thinking right now. Yeah. And so I remember once Zompa Rinpoche talking about this kind of thing, that our mind creates our experiences in two ways. One way is in the sense of what we did in previous times and the karma we created then, that then we have the four results, and this is how those four results ripen in this life. But he said another way we create our experience is through what we're thinking now and what we're feeling now. Okay? And that's why it's so important to be very aware of what our thoughts are and what thoughts we nourish, which ones we apply the antidote to, and so on. Okay? So it's, it's not just a question with the kind of disturbing and negative thoughts that we have now. It's not just a question of doing Vajrasattva mantra and that will purify the karma and make them go away. It's learning how to change our way of thinking right now. Okay, so yes, Vajrasattva is helpful to think, if there is some karmic element to do that, but especially let's look at how we were conditioned this life and how we bought into our present life conditioning. Okay, so somebody was talking the other day about, well, society won't let you say this or society won't let you think that. Actually, earlier in this life, we may have gotten clues from society, from our family, what is acceptable and what isn't. But the chief thing is we bought into that. Yeah. So it's not society that is impeding us as adults. It is now our present way of thinking that is impeding us. As kids, we just were sponges. We accepted whatever we heard. But, the good thing about growing up is now we can decide what we believe and what we don't believe, okay? And learn to recondition some of those emotions and some of those habitual thoughts, okay? And in that way, we change our present life experience, and we also create much better karma and stop creating so much negative karma for future lives. Okay, is this clear to people? Yeah? Mm-hmm.
I have a doubt because it seems like our thoughts are mental actions, so they are karma.
No, when we talk about the three mental actions, coveting, malice, and wrong views, they all depend on an affliction. But they are not just a moment of that affliction arising. They're thoughts that we deliberately cultivate with the kind of intention or inclination to one day be able to act them out. Okay, so of the three mental karmas, they're not just a blip of an emotion. There's the mind really going into it. Otherwise, you wind up saying afflictions are karma. Yeah, they never say afflictions are karma. Afflictions create karma. They're not the same.
With our mental thought processing, we generate karmic imprints, right? With every thought, I think
No, we generate mental habits. We reinforce the seeds of the afflictions in our mind. Okay, so if I'm very angry, yeah, if I develop malice because I'm thinking about, how I'm going to get even with my enemies, that's the mental action of malice. If I act that out verbally and I say harsh words or swear, that's the verbal action, and so on. If I punch the guy, but if I'm just sitting there kind of with anger in my mind, what I'm doing is reinforcing the seed of anger. And the seed of anger is what links one moment of manifest anger with another moment. Okay, so I'm angry today, then many hours go by, I'm not angry, then I get angry tomorrow. It isn't that there's that anger has been totally removed from my mind stream. No, the seed of anger is there. And the more we habituate ourselves with anger now, the stronger we make that seed in our mind. Yeah?
like what they say, if you have one angry thought about bodhisattva, then you, by that action, by that thought, you destroy your merits.
Yeah. They say that, okay, I'm speaking as an individual here. As we've noticed, the word moment can have many different meanings. You have one moment of anger. We've asked some of our teachers, how long is one moment? Some of them say 1/65th of a finger snap. Other ones say, no, it's 1/64th of a finger snap. Other ones say, it's as long as it takes to do something, which to me seems much, more viable, okay? So when they say one moment of anger, towards a bodhisattva, and that many eons of karma are destroyed, then because I remember asking His Holiness some of these questions about karma, yeah, and he said it has to be equal on both the negative side and the positive side. So that would mean that, 1/65th of an attitude of confidence in the Buddha Dharma Sangha would create that many eons of merit. Yeah, so you have to make things equal. Yeah. And so sometimes I wonder, when they go into all that mathematics about how much, how many eons of karma are destroyed. I wonder, well, which kind of eon of karma are they talking? Because there's short eons, there's middle-length eons, there's strong eons. Yeah, which eon of karma is it? Is it an eon of karma where I created a lot of negativities, or an eon of karma where maybe I didn't create so much negativities? Is it, when you start asking questions deeper and deeper, exactly, specifically what's going on, it becomes a bit difficult to get concrete answers. So what I take away from things like that, okay, and this is my own personal way of dealing with it, is this is a warning, don't get mad at people. Yeah, it's not a thing of, oh, well, that person's not a bodhisattva, so I can indulge in some karma, some anger towards them because it won't destroy so much merit. But that person's a bodhisattva, so okay, I'll keep my mouth shut. I don't think that's the purpose of it. I think I take it personally in my own practice as just, this is a warning. Be careful about your anger. Because it's true, we don't know who is a bodhisattva. We also don't know who isn't a bodhisattva. Yeah. And we also know that anger, isn't good. It doesn't matter how many eons of merit it destroys. In my opinion, I don't care. If I get angry, is it really going to make a difference to me whether I destroy 1 eon of merit or 2 eons of merit? For me, the way I take it is just, chill out, girl, and don't put your anger on other people because it's dangerous. Okay? So that's how I take it. Yeah? These questions about karma, you can ask His Holiness or ask the Buddha or somebody else, I can't give you 100% clear-cut answers. I can only tell you how I understand it and how I use it in my practice so that I don't go crazy. Yeah, because some of these things that they say, if you really think about them deeply, you'd go completely nuts. At least I would, and that doesn't help my mind at all. Yeah, to get so anxious about one moment, maybe when if I ever get to path of accumulation, maybe then I could handle some anxiety about 1/65th of a finger snap of anger. And, but right now, if I really thought about that with my present state of mind, I'd go completely nutty. I get so anxious, I couldn't even function. Does that help anybody? No. Okay? So I have to take it in a way that helps my practice now. As I progress, I may understand these things in different ways. Okay? Similarly, when they say you recite this mantra once and you will never be born in the lower realms. Okay? I asked His Holiness about that one. He said that's propaganda. That's the word he used, was propaganda. Yeah? Why is it? Because it's a way to encourage you to do something virtuous instead of sitting there going, oh, this person did this and this person did that, and I can't stand this one, I can't stand that one. This is a way of, getting us, if we say mantra, to do at least something virtuous with our mouth and maybe our mind. Yeah. if it were really, because His Holiness said, if all you had to do was recite that mantra once and you'd never be born in the lower realms, then that would mean that you're already at the peak stage of the path of preparation by saying that mantra once. Oh, if only that's all you needed to do to get to the peak stage of the path of preparation, And he said, if all you needed to do was just recite a mantra a few times and you get enlightened, then why did the Buddha give 84,000 teachings? Why are there so many sutras explaining the 3 higher trainings, the Eightfold Path, the 3, principal aspects of the path? Why are there so many teachers if all you need to do is recite a mantra a few times? Okay, so, it's things that are done to encourage us in one way or another. Okay? But you are free to form your own opinions. You can take these things literally. I'm just telling you how I understand them for where I am in my practice.
Separate and just a quick question. Yesterday you talked about how we're not having eggs during this retreat.
So we're not what?
Having eggs during this retreat.
Eggs.
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 Oh,
Yeah,
we
sorry.
are having eggs.
Are you making fun of my accent?
Egg.
Anyway,
Yes.
but I was wondering if you could explain the restriction around black foods and how we are keeping them this retreat, and if people at home should keep that as well if they're doing Ngundro or.
Yeah. It's good, okay. The idea about these foods is that this is a Kriya Tantra precept to avoid certain kind of foods when you're doing Kriya Tantra practices. So that's the reason why, okay? Yeah, and they say because these, in the case of onions and garlic, they say that they're things that create desire energy. Yes, I know in the West, garlic is seen as medicinal. In the East, it's seen differently. Okay? So you have different cultures saying different things. The thing about meat, and eggs and these kinds of things where there could be human life being destroyed in order for us to eat them, then the reason to not eat those is kind of clear. Okay? Yeah? This will be the last question because I know you want to eat.
This goes back to the first topic.
Okay.
So I was reading Geshe Sopa's Steps on the Path to Enlightenment,
Uh-huh.
and he says in there that stealing from the Sangha cannot be purified. And I wondered if that's pretty much under the same kind of thing where it's really trying to just drive home the point. And is there anything that can't be purified?
Yeah. No, they say that there's nothing that can't be purified. The reason they say that about the Sangha is it means that it's very difficult to purify negativities, especially this kind of stealing from the Sangha, because if you take things from the Sangha community, people come and go from that monastery all the time. And so even if you return it or you apologize or you recompensate, the same people aren't going to be there when you do that as when you took the thing to start with. So because of that, they say that you can't, it's very difficult to purify that. Okay. But then, of course, when they talk about Tantra, they say there's nothing that isn't purifiable. Yeah. Because if that karma, negativity is created with the Sangha, if that wouldn't be purified, then either we could never become Buddhas or the Buddha would still have some negative karmic imprints. And neither of those is true. Okay. I once asked, I'm going to make this a little bit longer. I know you're hungry. I once asked one Rinpoche, we were friends, so I could, it wasn't a student-teacher relationship, so I just talked to him quite freely. And I say, the Tibetans, and in the scriptures, you hear all these kind of statements, quite extreme statements, you know. And I said, when we Westerners hear that, it makes us, very anxious and nervous. And he said, his take is, okay, uh, you know, in Tibetan culture, the way Tibetan culture works, okay, if you believe this and you want to get a person to the middle with the correct view, yeah, you tell them this on the other extreme, and that will move them towards where you want them to go. In our culture, we are very, very literal. Yeah, we're an extremely literal culture. So if somebody's on this extreme and you tell them this, then we think this is God's truth, and you dare not do it, and it is cast in concrete. Okay? But in Tibetan culture, it just moves you towards the middle, which is where the teacher wants to get the student to the, uh, the correct attitude, not to this other extreme. Okay? Yeah. Can you see, in your own mind how we are very literal and take things, so, yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Well, this is exactly how our Western mind works, and I've talked with my Chinese friends about that. Oh, her question was, why isn't it lying if you say that? Okay, you recite this mantra one time and you'll never be born in the hell realms. Why isn't that lying? Because it's done with a good motivation to help the person on the path. Because if you just said to that person, it's really good to say some mantra, that the person would not do it. Yeah? You know the person well enough, So you have to exaggerate it a bit to get that person interested. It's advertising. You believe all the advertising. Do you ever say when you believe that when you watch TV and read things, aren't these people lying? Yeah. They're lying, or we may say they're lying, and then we go out and buy the stuff. Yeah. Because just in case what they're advertising is true, I really would like my skin to look better, even though I know they're lying. Okay.